Okay, there we go. Display capture. That's what it is. Alrighty. It should
Cool.
be.
You all good to go?
It should be, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just ask a personal question in terms of kind of your mindset on the game and mentality, because I find that with gold, silver, bronze, iron, platinum, even diamond players, they all have this mindset where if someone's higher ranked than you, they're automatically better than you and they automatically know more, blah, blah, blah. They're automatically like gods, you know what I mean?
hmm
So for somebody like challenger or diamond, like would you suggest that they're just like super, super good at the game, they're super, super knowledgeable?
I would say actively I don't think of that, but passively I feel like when I'm in a game and the higher I climb, the more I
Yeah,
get but
yeah,
underneath in the skin. Like I start getting more hyped and more nervous.
right.
And I
Yeah.
definitely start playing safe. Like if you notice, I don't ever usually do this, but I've started doing it recently because I've had to like respect a lot of the popular picks right now are kind of really hard for Elise. So like Kane, the Kane
Yeah, like the
jungle.
Kane, the Graves, kind of Trundle. Trundle works really well.
So I've been running
Um,
a lot of instead of what is it, Triumph and Coup de Grace secondary. I've been running Stopwatch and um, futures market so I can get like an early Zonias and early armor. Because I feel like that helps me a lot because they get so aggressive at a higher elo, and the higher I go, the more aggressive they're getting, the more they want to counter jungle me because I'm a squishy AP jungler. Especially that's more so whenever I see the Kane pick or the Kha'Zix picks,
gotcha.
or if they have a Zed or a Fizz mid lane that's gonna start roaming and probably ward my jungle or the Talon, then I start
Yeah.
going for those. I opt for that instead. But if I think in the Trundle matchup, I don't think there was anything there seriously that could have just on me. So I
hmm
think I went I think I did go Triumph and Coup de Grace that match.
Right.
But there was another one. I'm trying to think. I think anytime several Kane matches I did run that though because the Kane was just constantly in my jungle.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So the thing about champions like Kane, they Kane, Fiddlesticks, Trundle to a certain extent, um, Sejuani, they all want to farm, right?
Mhm.
They want to farm, they want to hit six, they want to hit their item spikes, they want to play for objectives later on in the game, if they're playing it properly anyways. And then that's when they start to come alive. The thing about Elise, Rek'Sai, champions that have to do stuff in the early game in order to come alive, in order to snowball.
Lee Sin. Yeah.
Yeah, Lee Sin, they all have to do stuff in the early game in order to generate leads that they can translate into wins. So against the Kane and against Fizz, stuff like that, I would say you'd want to opt in to go for, let's see, not necessarily that. Damn it. I don't know why my thing keeps doing that. You don't want to really opt in to go for this because it slows down what you could be doing
Triumph and
with
Coup de
runes
Grace.
and with coup de grace, and especially this because this is really really beneficial, especially when you're gonna hit an E. Your kit revolves around your E. If you don't really land it that many times, your ganks aren't gonna be as good, stuff like that. So you want to take this one. You want to take cheap shot in order to get that extra damage in the early game, in order to just blow them up as fast as possible and get in, get out. You know, if you're gonna hit up dives, dives are really, really important on Elise.
Mhm.
Um,
See, I always
but
figured the sudden impact because her Q, apparently the way it's coded, it counts as a dash. So anytime you go to Q, you immediately, like before it does damage, you get that lethality and that magic pen
yeah,
boost.
inner spiraling,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure what exactly the numbers are, but 6 flat pen compared to 10 damage, because most of your damage is going to be from 1 to 6. That's when you're going to be needing these runes the most. That's when the game is going to be most even if
hmm
you're playing Eve correctly. And so during that time, you want to do the optimal amount of damage.
So that
Um,
is not good so early on. Like later on, that will scale better,
the magic pen, yeah.
but early on, what you're
Um,
saying is the true damage rune, the cheap shot would be better earlier because it doesn't
yeah,
have to scale.
exactly. But you can sort of look at these team comps and you see that not many of these champions want to prioritize MR. Kane can if he goes Rast, but looks like he doesn't. Yeah, he opts to go in for the Killenheimer, the Ezreal, the Sejuani, or not the Sejuani, but the Xerath. The Fiora can, but she doesn't. The Azure absolutely doesn't. The Ashe doesn't, and then the Leona might. So you have to look at who you're trying to kill early and who you're trying to get a lead off of, and ask yourself if you really need that magic pen. And I don't think in this game you do. I think you would rather go for the cheap shot and then hope to get a lead off of someone in the early game and look to snowball. In this game, it's kind of the same scenario. Nobody on the other team really wants to prioritize MR. But that being said, with the base MR, going this might actually be beneficial. But I think for the sake of the early game pressure, I think the cheap shot's the way to go. Especially because your kit revolves around it so much. I mean, we can take a look at pro builds and see what's going on. At least brain fart real quick, 1 sec. Yeah, so some of them even go with the Nimbus Cloak. Nimbus Cloak is really good. Yeah, it looks like most of them are going Nimbus Cloak.
That's what I figured because I actually in one of my streams I mentioned how Nimbus Cloak
But you
would
see
be
a cheap
good
shot.
because it. What does it do now? Because I know like it used to like give you a speed boost every time you hit your ult, but when
And
I
now
read it,
it's every single time you hit your summer spells. Yeah, see, they're always electing to go cheap shot, right?
mhm,
And then the difference between eyeball collection and
the Poro
what was that game? The Poro is just in terms of how often you can
vision control.
proc the. So for here, when your wards expire, that's every single time an enemy walks over that Ghost Poro, right? That's when you gain that AP. So it's only beneficial to go Ghost Poro when you're going to be placing your wards in aggressive spots where the enemy champions are going to walk over them, right? And so you end up getting, if you can get this faster, then you can get killing the wards, or if you can get this after spawning the 10 wards, then basically zombie ward isn't that efficient. Uh, Ghost Poro is good if you're playing really aggressively and you're going to invade, like they have like a Karthus that you need to invade, or they have even a Kha'Zix that wants to farm, a Fiddlesticks that wants to farm, and then Eyeball Collection just for other matches.
Okay.
But I think so we can move on to the or the precision. I think in terms of this as a whole, in low elos it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's not going to give you too much usage, other than the fact that Nimbus Cloak is just so good on Elise. On Elise, Rek'Sai, champions that have high mobility want to get in and out. Champions that want to dive, because that movement speed, we'll go over it in game, but you can sort of see, and there'll be times when using the smite on an enemy champion or using a flash to get out of a sticky situation, especially with Diana, a Kayle, and a Blitzcrank, it's going to become really handy. But we'll go over that in game.
That's right. Okay, yeah, because I can. Oh, I see. So you can get that on Chilling Smite as well. I didn't think of that for some
Yeah,
reason. I was thinking just Flash exclusively. I forgot completely about casting Smite on other people like challenging and chilling.
right. So you can, and this is a really good website just to sort of see what the meta's like. Like sometimes you'll see people go Conquer into people that they want to fight a little bit more, but it seems like the same guy keeps on doing it over and over again. Trick. So I don't know. It also depends on your playstyle on the champion, but usually you just want to go Electrocute because Electrocute's the way to go on a champion that has to get leads early. Conquer obviously scales a little bit better, and looking to bruise a little more, skirmish a little bit more, but Electrocute's the way to go on Elise, so to speak. So yeah, just real quick, cheap shot, eyeball collection, Ghost Poro when you want to ward more aggressively and you can proc it fast, and then Ravenous Hunter is good, and then normally you want to be going.
Wouldn't it have to expire though, and the Ghost Portal would have to come up, and then they would have to be spotted? It seems very like a lot of setup for a very small bonus. I run it on
Right.
Zyra because all the time you could be fighting the enemy support, like in that tri-bush area. Like they got to clear your wards, and then boom.
And it's gonna be proccing like all the time, right?
Yeah, but like with the Lees as in the jungle, how would that like?
Right. So I think you're red side here. So what'll happen is, and especially on red side at least is really good because of the way that you can path, or sorry, blue side is a little bit better, but on red side you can sort of go through and then have this spot right here.
Mhm.
It's a little bit harder to dive onto. Or so can you
Mic
see this
off.
the color, or
Mic
is it too
on.
dark for you?
Give me just a second. Let me close my door real quick. My family came home. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
For sure. So on red side, Elise has the option of going up and alcoving. She has the option of going around like this. This is kind of the double-edged sword in top lane, and you can sort of see the same thing going on with bot. But diving top, and that's normally one of your win cons is Elise, is you have to get the side lanes and you have to dive either top, you want to dive, or you can dive bot. And diving mid's a little bit harder. It requires like sometimes a support to come, even the top laner. But off red side, you have to do this awkward blah 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 blah, right?
Mhm.
And so you can get spotted on wards that go right here, wards right here, even wards like this. So it's kind of hard to gank top or dive top in that regard, but you can easily just go like this.
Now I do take on Elise. I tend to take sweeper. Is that something you recommend, or should I be focusing
100%. And if you're gonna go sweeper, obviously
Ghost Poro wouldn't really be the way to
Ghost
go
Poro is not going to be very effective. But
if I'm not
sweeper
running
is really
sweeper.
good. Yeah. So again, Ghost Poro, if you're not going to run sweeper and you're going to ward early in the game, obviously at a certain point in the game you do want to end up switching over to sweeper regardless of who you're playing on jungle, because you're going to have to be going around looking for picks, looking for setups, looking for side lanes in the mid to late game, and sweeper is just so beneficial. So once again, obviously the paths you're going to take, you're going to be able to ward right here, you're going to be able to ward right here, even deeper. You can even ward right here for rotations if the bot is Smurf, end up pushing and then coming top. You can, same thing goes for bot, you can sort of do this path, you can ward right here. These two areas are always going to be in contention, so you're going to be able to proc the Ghost Poro, but it really depends on what your game plan is, and it's a little bit of advanced thinking, especially when you're trying to think about what the enemy jungler wants to do, but really good junglers know how to do that. But yeah, we can just talk about dives real quick. Obviously, I talked about it red side. You can go like this, and you can pull the wave back and then just look to dive. Red side's a little bit harder to do top because you have to go like this once again. Mid lane, like kind of wonky, but you can do different things, right? But general game plan for Elise, and we can get into the game real quick here, is just like, once again, this is fine right here. And then run the Nimbus Cloak, and Celerity is good as well because it's going to help you. It's going to help you go throughout the river and really be able to maximize your time. So it might look something like this, and then that would be a good Elise room page. Understand?
Yeah.
Cool. So we can get to the game. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. So you have Elise into Kha'Zix. What are general thoughts going into the game right away?
I'm gonna be invaded, more than likely.
Okay. And what about your lanes?
Uh,
Because you have to be able to think about a couple different things we'll get into, but you have to be able to think about a general game plan for your first couple of levels, where you're going to path, where you're going to start, where you're going to focus, what your win cons are, and which lanes have prio and such. So what do you think in this game might be beneficial for you to think about in loading screen?
In retrospect, I probably should have just. I think probably just leashed. Because on it, mm, I'm not certain because I leashed red, but since they're ranged and they have that advantage on Yasuo, maybe I should have let them get like an XP lead and just either solo took red or just leashed blue. But then
Right.
again, if I leash blue, Poppy is against a ranged opponent, and she would be at a disadvantage for a Kale getting a level 2 on her.
When does
So,
Kel get ranged?
I think isn't she ranged like all the time now, or is it
At
just 6?
6. At 6, that's when she
Oh.
gets ranged. So you have a funky comp, and these are the things about solo queue. So what I'm thinking right here is obviously the Kha'Zix into Elise. Kha'Zix wants to farm, farm, farm. He wants to get items in order to assassinate people, right? Unfortunately, the way the matchup works is that whoever has the first go wins whoever hits first has the winning trade. The winning will win in the 1v1.
Mm.
But that's not to say that if Elise lands her cocoon, she wins 100%. So it's a little bit wonky. You don't have to avoid Kha'Zix. You actually can fight him if you're confident in your ability to land your E. Of course, the beautiful thing about Elise is that you can get leads off of your laners. Now you take a look at bot.
They have a really good CC comp.
Really, really good CC setup. So, in knowing that, you could path. Where's my riff kit? You could path. You could do red into blue into Gromp, and then look to gank. Now, of course, how this game should go is that. Let's actually go back. Why is it? There we go. The fact that you have ranged with the Leona threat against the Yasuo and the Blitzcrank, who isn't ranged, you would think that Jhin has the push, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jhin and Leona have the push. So what should happen is these guys, if they want to move, should get pushed in. When you end up path, if you were to path right here, right? And these are things you have to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go from red to blue to Gromp, and that's just the general way Elise, Rek'Sai, Lee Sin want to work, right? They want to do 3 camps and they want to gank.
Mm-hmm.
Kha'Zix, not so much. Kha'Zix wants to farm. So Kha'Zix might do something like red into Krugs, into just full clearing,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe looking for a base, and then on a second clear, he might look to go bot. Now, if he was smurf enough, he might do a full clear bot, or he might, full clear bot, he might go red into Raptors into Krugs, and then path
gank.
and cover. Not gank, but cover. Because if I was a Kha'Zix, I'd be thinking, this Elise is going to do 3 camps, she's going to start red, and then she's going to gank for bot. Which obviously is super, super easy because Leona's going to be able to get level 2 first, especially if she's playing properly, and then all of a sudden, if you hit anything, if you hit an auto, Jhin W's, Leona follows up with EQ, you hit a cocoon, that's a free kill. Now Yasuo's not running cleanse, so Yasuo's pretty much dead. Yasuo's super vulnerable to dives, especially from pretty much 3 onwards. Annie, ranged into melee, should be able to get prio early. So the lane should look.
The Diana got quite a few rooms. She spiraled out of control.
Right, and that's the unfortunate thing about what's it called? Low elo, is it should be that Annie should be able to push him in. But sometimes the Diana might just be able to do something like this and maybe get like a free kill because Annie isn't paying attention or whatnot. Plus, Annie's running Dark Harvest, which doesn't make any sense. But we'll talk about that
That's
later.
what I said.
I don't like. First of all, Annie, it's a good champ for low elo players. It helps people learn. But I don't know about Dark Harvest. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say anything because it was, because there was some hidden OP strat and I was wrong. But I was dead thinking like her kit just doesn't seem like Dark Harvest material. She's not poke, and usually you want that on like a poke champ.
Well, you can go on burst champions and then just scale somewhat because you're losing power in the early game because you don't have electrocute.
Mm-hmm.
But taking it on Annie is just you're kind of trolling. You don't really have too much range, like you said. You don't really have to poke, and procking it
You
is
have to
not going
do
to be
it.
too reliable.
Yeah, because like you'd have to do it in an all in, but like Annie's all about that one OTP and then she's done. With
Yeah,
like the 5-man Tibber stun,
yeah,
and you might get one stack off that whole ordeal. So it's doesn't
right.
seem.
Now the weird thing about this comp is you want to play for bot, right?
Hmm.
But Kale is a champion that once she hits 6, Poppy loses so hard that she can't play the game because Kale can W and then kite, and then Poppy's dead. She's done because Kale gets free farm and Kale gets to farm to 11. So what you want to actively do is you want to look to get a lead bot, hope that they can carry that out, and then maybe look to get a lead top and try and set Kale behind. Those are your two ways of winning this game. Obviously, if you can get bot behind, you want to start setting up dives. You want to set up vision in the enemy jungler. You want to set like just ways of getting Kha'Zix, Kale behind in terms of setting bot behind. But we'll talk about that, make it a little more apparent in the game. But you understand a little bit of my thought process?
Yeah, that's definitely
Awesome.
something I need to work on evaluating. Pre-game matchups and my path. I kind
Right.
of just go cookie cutter. Like when it comes to clearing, I've been focused a lot more about word control. But like when it comes to like what you see there, like pros cons. It's a lot of my pathing is like the same almost every game, and I am doing almost like a full clear on Elise almost every single game. Not
Mm-hmm.
every game. Like I played one or two last night at like 3 a.m. in the morning because I just couldn't sleep. And
Yeah.
I was the last game for sure. I was definitely like super attentive, and I actually did gank after 3 camps and well 3 camps and then scuttle because he wasn't quite ready yet.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's something that I need to work on is evaluating my pregame matchups and actually changing my jungle paths and
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of that. Like as you said, like Kha'Zix might predict that I'm going to do 3 camps and then come bot, which I think he might have done because I think if you see he got an early camp bot and they spiraled out of control. Because I think
Right.
he was predicting me to be there, so that's why he was sitting in Tribush. And if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, he ganked and they got a kill and they got a lead. And
Right.
so I definitely do actually think he was smurfing a little bit.
Maybe.
Because if you look at his like, I think if you'll even see I clicked on him and he's in gold elo at a very low level, at like level 40 or something like that. And I figured he's
Yeah, he's a little bit of a smurf.
yeah, I knew
I
it.
mean, he's got a 30% win rate on Rengar, so maybe he's just inting every single game he plays on Rengar so that he can go and play more games and low elo. But who knows? He looks like really coin flip though.
Yeah,
Like really coin flip. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's not much you can do if you have a Smurf on the other team. It makes it a little bit harder to play the game, but once again, you're going to be able to if you play properly, most of the Smurfs are probably going to be Diamond Smurfs, and they're not going to be that good. Like even Diamond players are really not that good. But yeah. So things you want to think about are generally just prio, like who has prio in the Annie versus Diana. Obviously, the matchup goes that it's range versus melee, so it should. You want to know their win cons versus your win cons. Obviously, the Kale, once she hits 16, it's everyone dies, right?
yeah, usually yeah,
Um,
unless she does
Poppy
something
doesn't
really
have,
stupid.
yeah. Poppy wants to disable Kha'Zix, Diana, and Yasuo. Does that very well because of not letting them dash. And she's a tank, right? These champions naturally don't like to fight tanks. Um, so obviously, war cons versus win cons, matchups, and where you want to play in the early game. But yeah, Kha'Zix doesn't want to do too much early. Obviously, if it's Smurf like him, he's just going to naturally want to make something happen in the early game, because generally speaking, people in gold, below gold, above gold, up to like diamond 1, they're
Mm-hmm.
not really going to know what they're doing, and they're just going to randomly play. Like you'll see a Sejuani randomly level 2 gank, even though Sejuani's level 2 sucks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So unfortunately, you do end up starting blue. what you wanted to have done again was start red and then path downwards. Do your blue, then do your Gromp. This gives you level 3, of course, and then you can gank bot.
Straight gank, yeah.
And so even though the Kha'Zix is covering at that point, you guys 100% will win. Because you have the Jhin, because you have the Leona, you have more CC, you have more damage. Kha'Zix doesn't want to fight multiple people. He wants to pick people off. So you're just naturally going to win. Having the pink ward as a start, it's all right, I guess.
I meant to put it at my red because I figured I'd be invaded. Because usually I see Kha'Zix, the first thing I think of is 1v1 I lose. Like, you know, he's going to just get his isolation and his isolation Q off, and I'm going to just die. So that's why I figured
Right.
I was supposed to go put it on my red. That's what I normally do. And I forgot to do that because I came back late, about 30 seconds.
What if you were to... Where is it? Okay, so you start the game. What if you were to...
Or even put it, like, right behind the red.
What if you were to not buy the pink? Okay. You start the game normal with the pots and the jungle item. Go right here. Place a ward right here while you're backing. As the you press B right here, and then when the timer hits like 1 second, you place the ward in that bush. And then you can swap to your red your red trinket, the Oracle lens, and then you can go over here. Obviously, this you don't want to start blue, but what if you were to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably be more
because you'd be
efficient.
saving from right here, and then your top laner can maybe ward this,
And then I can
or she can go even
scan
further and ward that.
and then gank.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but once again, you want to be starting right here, and if you're starting red, you can do the exact same thing, bot. You can stand in this bush right here, press B, you know, as you're backing, and then ward this bush, and then you're chilling, right? You've warded off this area, so now all of a sudden, if they want to invade, you're going to be able to see everything, and then the same thing over here. And then if your top laner wants to ward, he can ward right here, and then all of a sudden, you can't get invaded. You're going to see them. Now, this is obviously assuming that your top laner is going to actually move. Your bot's actually going to move. Your mid's actually going to move. Of course, in lower elo, it's kind of hard to do because not many people have brains. But, you know, you can hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we ended up starting blue. It's not the biggest deal because you can end up, I think you end up full clearing here, right? That's what you said. Yeah, so you end up full clearing. Oh, wait, did they invade? Oh, no, I see.
Here I do kind of want to trade with him. I think I get the... No, I don't get the... Oh, okay. Never mind. Must have been a different game. Oh, I think that was a Trundle I fought earlier. Never mind.
Why didn't you do your Grump?
I figured
or you just want to do 3 camps and then down.
Yes.
I see. Okay. I'm busy. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so you end up doing the blue into the wolves into the red. Unfortunately, you're kind of just messing up your tempo. And what I mean by this is
there's no
efficiency
flow.
Is everything, right? You have to be able to do as many camps and gain as much gold and resources as possible before the enemy jungler, and you have to do that in such a way that works well with your champ. So Elise, again, she wants to, and this is just something you're not getting, is she wants to do 3 camps into ganking either top, mid, or bot, right? She wants to do 3 camps and then gank. Hit level 3, and then gank. That's pretty much the entire game plan of Elise. I mean, there is times when if you have a ward and you see the enemy jungler full clearing, and you also know that you can't really gank mid top or bot because all 3 lanes are losing, that's when you can start full clearing. Okay?
Okay.
But in this game, if your goal is to full clear, then doing blue into wolves into red isn't that good because Elise is better on single target because of her Q, both Qs actually, and then her human form W doing percent damage. You're gonna do more damage to just the Gromp alone rather than the Elise, or rather than the wolves.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, you end up doing the 3 camps, which is, you know, the blue and then the wolves again, blue, Gromp, and then red would have been better. And then you path down into Scud. Now the thing about this is with and this is just general in terms of gameplay in early game. If you think that you win level 1, like you see here, you have Annie, you have Elise, you have Jhin, you have Leona. Every single one of your champions are good level 1, except for maybe Elise because she can't really have Cocoon, but you have the CC setup. Against Blitz, of course, is a problem, but nothing's to say where you can go through mid, place a ward right here to know that Kha'Zix is starting red, right? Because if you know that he's starting red, you know that he's doing this. And then at 315, he'll do this, right? Because if he starts bot, he's going to go for top Scud, right? So you should know based off that, but based off of also the fact that Kha'Zix wants to start red, that he's going to be here.
So I should be looking to fight him before 315, basically. Here, like kind of yoink him at the.
Not necessarily, because if your goal is to go right here, doing Raptors is not beneficial to you because, like I said, as soon as you hit level 3, you want to be active on the map, and doing Raptors isn't going to help you. Oh wait, you're level 3.
I think the Raptors made me level 3. It just took me a long time. Yeah, it just took me a while to actually do them. So yeah, you're right. Doing Gromp, I would have gotten a much faster level 3, and I'd have been able to just go right.
Yeah, right. And again, I think it's a couple of the. I think it's 2. Yeah, 2 of the Raptors, the small Raptors, will get you level 3 if you want to do this way. But yeah, unfortunately, the tempo here is in favor of Kha'Zix because he's able to get first priority on Scuttle, which he's probably just waiting there right now. He's doing it, and then all of a sudden he kills it before you. Kind of tragic. And then now all of a sudden, let's see, just wait. Okay, so he walks away. Where do you think Kha'Zix is going?
Did he have blue buff? I don't.
Yeah, he did.
So he's probably going to his Gromp.
Probably going to his Gromp. So what? You take a look at mid. What can you do? Gank mid. And I think you end up doing that. Maybe.
I think we blow a flash. Yeah.
Right. She blindly looks to do this, and then unfortunately, no. Is she just waiting there? Yeah. So then, of course, you end up trading scuds, which is good for the current situation. Of course, there are things you could have done to have gotten a little bit better mistake because you also knew that Poppy had Prio. And again, that's that topic of Prio. Prio, if you have Prio on top, they should be able to react faster. So you win that 1v2, and you end up getting that scud. You end up trading, and of course, you can do this because you know that Diana is not really a threat right now. She could be in a little bit because she could be in this bush right here, but you also have bot lane Prio to come help you. Of course, it'd be different if bot lane was pushed on her tower. And then all of a sudden their bot lane could come and Diana could come and then you are sad.
Yeah, that happened to me before.
Yeah, it happens quite often, especially in low elo. But you get it, which is good, and then you can go do your Gromp. And then I should see you either base or lane gank bot. But I think bot looks to back as well because you look, they are really low, right?
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have even gone for that fight that they're doing right now, and I think they're going to die, yeah. So you look at bot, and it's just like, wow, right? Bot lane's kind of doomed. But if you were to start red and then path into bot, there could have been a timing. It would have been right about 2:30. Let me put it right about right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you were to look at your bot lane wave, oh, you actually see Kha'Zix right here. So you know he's going to be right here. But anyways, we can tell what you
Okay.
should have
Oh yeah,
so
if I was bot at this time, I mean, look, they're fighting. It would have been free.
yeah, you would have gone to kill. Look at him right now. Like this would be the time that you'd be exactly right
And they are retreating and they're overextending.
here.
Like you see
Yeah.
where the Blitzcrank and the Yasuo like circular clips are right underneath the Leo. Like they're already overextended there, and I could just gank, and yeah, we turn that completely around.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic.
At that point, you're winning bot, and then
you focus top when she hits 6, like you said earlier.
or before she hits 6. You don't want to let her hit 6 for free. That's just the thing
Oh.
about Kayle. Is you don't want to let her hit 6 for free because then she's kind of winning. But yeah, of course, playing for your bot lane is actually really beneficial. So whatever, we know what happens here. So I think you end up backing. Oh, you end up doing even more. So right here, it would have been good to either continue doing your camps or just back, and then you can look to clear downwards. Go boom, boom, and then even do drag or look to once again affect bot. Because again, this game plan, this game should be focused around bot.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the way you're playing right now, you're playing as if you're playing something that's scaling or something that doesn't want to fight,
Like
but it's at least right, you want to fight. And the back that I'm talking about right here is just a concept of tempo, right? So you have 930. You can buy
Fiendish Codex.
you can finish. Yeah, you can buy Fiendish Codex. You can buy what's it called, boots, as well as finish off your jungle item.
Yeah.
Or your starter jungle item, and then you're good to go. You can go boom, boom, boom. Even if you see something mid here, boom. If not, you can just continue going back down and then set up something bot. If bot goes well, you hit up a dive, you do whatever. All of a sudden, you get dragged for free. If not, then you can start to look to invade and punish Kha'Zix. Because at this with this comp, what? If Kha'Zix is 0-0-0 and everyone else is 0-0-0, then he's winning the jungle matchup. Especially top is winning the jungle, or top is winning their matchup, and Diana wants to scale as well. Yasuo wants to scale. So it's just in terms of them outscaling you. You want to make stuff happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you watch LS or do you watch?
I used to watch Ellis. Yeah.
Right? He talks a lot about Sinner champs and Elise, Rek'Sai, Lee Sin not scaling well and them being really bad because of the fact that you have to do stuff on them in order to get a win. Like you have to gank, you have to get kills and do all these things, or else you just inevitably get outscaled and lose the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like Elise, her damage doesn't fall off. It's really just her team fight potential. It's just because you land, you're a less mobile assassin where you just kind of you land your cocoon in a team fight, and then you can hopefully kill that target or just wait for your next cocoon. That's all you really do in a team fight as Elise, which is why I think she honestly falls off. Because as far as her damage goes, like you can pretty much kill anyone in the game full build, like level 18. Like your damage doesn't really fall off. It's just kind of
it's a mixture of a couple different things. For one, her clear speed isn't amazing compared to someone like a Karthus, Graves, Shyvana, stuff like that. Are going to end up outscaling you because they're going to clear faster. They do that better than you, as well as the fact that you are naturally not going to be very tanky. And you want to go into them, right? So you're standing right here, someone like an Azir standing right here, a Diana could be standing right here, but at the same time, Diana is going to outscale you and do more damage than you. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, but generally Elise needs gold, and she needs to get to gold faster than the enemy jungler. She has to get kills in order to scale and in order to do what the champ wants to do. Because her damage does end up falling off in certain comps. Like there's not many comps where you'll see the Elise being the only AP. Normally should be matched with like a mid AP or a top AP. And then it's kind of screwed at a point in the game where the enemy champions build MR, and then you're kind of like, okay, I can build penetration, but wait a minute, I'm not very ahead. I'm kind of falling off. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So unless you have kills, you're gonna fall off. And that's just the general basis of champions like Elise, Rek'Sai, Kiana even.
I love Kiana. Kiana's so fun.
Kiana's fun, man, but she has to gank. She has to do the same thing Elise does. Most notable matchup is like Kiana versus Gragas. That's what you'll see a lot. And the Gragas literally just farms, and then Kiana just gets outscaled if she doesn't get anything happening. So Kiana just falls off, kind of. But yeah, this early game is just really, you're not getting the fact that Elise has to do stuff, right? She has to dive, she has to gank to get kills, and to win the game, really, to get snowballing. So right now you end up, yeah, you continue to clear, but again, you're wasting time and you're wasting gold and time on the map with more items, with the Phoenix Codex, with the Vision Ward.
Yeah, I'd be clearing them
and
faster.
whatnot. Yeah, you'd be clearing faster, and this is just bad tempo. Comes back to the idea of tempo. And so if Kha'Zix had ended up backing right now, he could be doing a second clear bot, and he could just go like this. He could go bot. I wouldn't be surprised if he end up shows bot and ganks and then gets a kill, does whatever, and then does drag. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But this tempo for Yuju is just really bad. See here. And you're still on the map. Oh no. Back. Press B. Press B. No. Who cares about the mid wave, man? No. Oh, and Diana roams. No, it's doomed because Kha'Zix is bot. Oh, and now you're still going. No,
And I
you
go
got
there and I
1300
die.
gold.
Yeah, and I go
No,
and then I die. Yep.
you're so weak. No. Ah. But you can't even kill her here. Your Annie isn't close enough to do anything. No. Ah, it's tragedy. And Kha'Zix is probably standing in that bush. Oh, if you would have kept going, Kha'Zix is probably there. Diana is pretty tanky. Then you go bot, and there's a ward right there, so they know you're coming. No.
I
Yeah,
think
just going for this is really weird.
I think we
right?
get blitz though.
You end up getting blitz, but oh, the TP from the Smurf top laner. Oh, the mid laner. Never mind. Oh, this is tragic. Oh no, they get Drake for free off this.
I almost outplayed him here.
Right, but this shouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
None
whole
of this should happen.
scenario, the whole scenario is doo doo.
Like you should be chilling. Like even if your idea is to clear this and go back, like you should just press B. It's the whole idea of like tempo and not understanding what your champion wants to accomplish. Like it happens to be the same case with Pantheon. With Panth, with Kiana. That's a whatever. These champions, if they have free time in lane, like let's say you're playing mid lane, let's say you're playing top lane, even jungle, if you're sitting on 350 gold and you have nothing to do, you know, you're not hit 6 first, you don't have that power spike, you just want to back and get a longsword because that 10 damage, that plus 10 damage is so important that it could be the difference between you winning the game and losing the game, right?
Mhm.
It's these type of champions that want to accelerate the game. That way the enemy team doesn't outscale them. And that's the way you should be thinking with Elise. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Okay. And plus, with when you're playing these early game champs like Elise, a priority should be the first 2 drags. You should get those drags 100% of the time if you're playing these champions properly and you're getting the leads and you're getting all these things. So unfortunately, you're not really, yeah, like Annie's kind of inting a bit, but she did end up going the side where her Elise was, so good for her. But unfortunately, you're kind of inting a bit here. Okay, so yeah, off this, you should think that Kha'Zix was bot side, so he's probably invading you and taking your blue, taking all your camps.
He does, yeah. I
He ends
think.
up doing that. They probably end up getting drag as well. So knowing that everyone's bot side, you again, yeah, you should go top, and then you should maybe look to make a play on Kayle. Now at this point, she's probably 7, which means she's got range on you, which means that you have to land your E, but she also has ult. So going on her, it's not securing a kill. Instead, if you end up like being, I don't know, right here or whatnot, and the drag is still down, nothing's stopping you from invading and taking his top side, right?
Hmm.
So you should be thinking to yourself, everyone's bot side, they're taking my stuff. What can I take top side? This is a concept of weak versus strong side, right?
Hmm.
Their strong side is bot because they have so many people bot, and everyone's back. Poppy's backing, um, everyone's bot side. So you want to create some advantage elsewhere on your strong side and make top your strong side. Okay.
Hmm. There was another match. I think it was one of the ones I played last night. They had a I think it was an Ashe and Xerath bot lane on our team, and I played Elise, and I started blue buff, and I started doing a full clear, and I was just finishing Raptors, I think, or yeah, I think I was just finishing Raptors, and their jungle ganked bot side, but it was very early, and I realized, okay, he must have actually just done his bot and then ganked, and then he got a kill. And I went from Raptors, I ignored my red, and I went and I got his blue. I actually stopped, I think, halfway midway through the Raptors, and I darted right for his blue, and I cleared his blue and his Gromp. I didn't get the Wolves because I went and I got Scuttle, and then I finished Raptors and I got my red, and then I backed. But the Xerath said I should have gone from Raptors to bot side to gank to offset the match. I don't, but I figured, yeah, okay, they're there and there. I think they also got the dragon, but I was like, okay, so I mean, he's down there. I
Was
should
it
be doing something. I think
which match was it?
it had the Xerath support, so I think it was the
Was it
last
this
one.
one right here?
Uh, what
The Ashe
what's
and
their
Leona
jungle?
versus Ezreal Xerath? Or was it this one?
I think it was the. Trying to think. I think it was the first one you showed.
Yeah, Ezreal.
Ezreal, yeah.
Okay, first of all, turn off your chat. There's no. Actually, this guy might be a Smurf. No, he's not. I don't know why he's. Whatever. Turn off your chat because anybody in this ELO, anybody up to Diamond, they're not going to know what they're talking about. There's no point in listening to them. They're all just going to flame you and tell you wrong stuff, and you're going to end up focusing on chat rather than focusing on the game and how you can win, how
Which
you
one
can
has
improve.
the? What's the name of the Xerath? Because I can't see. It's blurry. On
Stimpy.
Stimpy, yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, just turn off your chat. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. But in this game, you can't gank bot. This bot should never die. They have Ezreal with cleanse and Xerath, who should never be in range of Leona, who should never be in range of Ashe to auto or to E to L or to for the Leona to E onto her. So if they died, it's their fault. Especially with the Kayn ganking early. Kayn has no CC. The only CC they have in the bot lane pre-6 is Leona E.
And Ashe
Maybe
slows.
they flash E, but at that point, like you just flash and react.
Yeah.
Like,
So
your bot lane should never die here.
gotcha. So going top and taking all his blue and then taking the scuttle was the right move.
Absolutely was a right call.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So you're making something good out of them having strong side bot side. You know, they had their jungler and they had all this going on, and then you were top side Raptors and you took all of his stuff top side,
Mm.
excluding the wolves obviously. Then you took your red and then backed, and then I'm assuming you went bot.
I think I
It,
went. Actually think I went mid,
right.
and we got a kill on Azir, or he
Yeah, I
burned
mean,
his flash.
burning flash out of his zero makes him a dead champ, right? So it's good that you probably could have went this, and then looked mid here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Going this path, get a flash, and of course you get scuttle. But on Elise again, it's always hitting level 3. Of course, if you get an opportunity like this to go and invade and take his stuff, it's always going to be more worth it because you're setting him behind. And then, looking to get a lead. It's just getting kills, getting yourself ahead.
Now, when it comes, if I'm playing Lee's and it comes to like objective control, so like as you said, the first drag should totally be ours. Like when it comes to Rift Herald, because that last game I also got, like I think I got both Rift Heralds too, because
When I
just by
say the rift or the first drag should be yours, I say it in terms of games like this game right here. It
what we
should be
focus on.
because you have such a winning bot lane, and then they have Kale top. Doesn't do much. Of course, they have Diana, but Diana still wants to scale, and Annie does more damage than Diana early. You have so much CC and so much early game that there's no reason why you shouldn't have the first two drags. But this is taking back to who has prio, who has the winning matchups, what are your win cons, and if your win con in this game is to win early, which it is, then you should be getting the first two drags.
Okay.
But yeah,
And when it comes to like after my level 3, what constitutes when I should like gank? Is it just a rule of thumb every 3 camps? Theoretically, I should just gank and look
not
towards.
every 3 camps, but if you know that your bot lane wins level 1 and level 2, okay, and you have gank set up, like in this game, you have Jhin Leona. That's so much CC. If you hit one person, they're just dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jhin can W, Leona can E, Leona can Q. It's just super, super easy to land a free cocoon because they're always going to be CC'd. Going into a Poppy, on the other hand, Poppy can E into a wall, sure, but there's not much damage here and there's not much CC. So again, you can path top and try and get Kale behind, but the chance of you getting a kill against Kale versus you against the Yasuo and the Blitzcrank, it's so much higher. So you have to think in terms of percentages. What's the higher percentage play here? Like if Jhin gets a W or if Leona gets a CC, then it's 90% that you get a kill. If you can land a cocoon on Kale or Kale positions in such a way that Poppy can E him into a wall, then it's a 90% play depending on where it is. But chances are that's not going to happen. So chances are it's more of a 50% play. It's more of a coin flip. Plus, you know that Kha'Zix is pathing topside. So you're pathing into Kha'Zix. So you have to take a bunch of things into account.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all of this should be known in loading screen. And this
Now,
is back.
what about
Actually,
like
go ahead.
after? What about after 3? Like throughout the game, like so.
Oh, well, then that's strictly for the first 3 camps. You can whatever happens at that point after that, then you want to think in terms of tempo. Like back to this right here. Once if this were to be the play that you make the gank, then you can start thinking, okay, how can I continue to process leads? Well, it's in terms of pathing efficiently, knowing where the enemy jungler is, knowing the health and sustain of your laners. Once again, playing for your win cons. So Jhin, Leona is definitely a win con because you can constantly gank that lane, and you can constantly use their CC to your advantage and get kills off that.
Mm.
So if you want to constantly use that, you probably always path bot side. You would always look to either invade and use the fact that you're getting leads off them to invade his bot side and maybe split the map at this point, and you can play bot side and you get drags constantly, whatnot. but everything past 3 camps on Elise, specifically, maybe like a Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, something like that as well, you want to be playing for win cons on your team.
Okay.
You have to ask yourself, how can I win with this champ? And how
Yeah.
can I win with my team?
So all my pathing should relatively be linear. So, like, you know, taking a couple camps in line in the direction of where I want to contest the next objective or gank or whatever. It should
Exactly.
be all one flow.
Right.
Gotcha.
And that's the hardest part about jungle is deciding what's most efficient and if you can pull off a gank and if you can take an objective. Is this warded? Does my mid laner have flash and fourth stack of passive on Annie so she can hit the flash Q and stun the Diana? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to take all these things into account to be a good jungler.
Okay.
And once again, this idea of becoming a better jungler is also really hard to do when you're gonna play 4 games of jungle, then play 3 games of support, or play 3 games of jungle and then 2 games of mid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sticking to one role and really trying to get good at it is in itself a way to climb. So you need to really think about how you want to play the game and how you want to improve and how you want to climb.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because right now, the way you're doing it, it's really coin flip. You're saying to yourself, okay, I'm gonna farm a little bit here, I'm gonna do a little bit this, I'm gonna do a little that. Maybe I'm gonna go bot. Okay, I'm gonna full clear. You're not really understanding the way your champ works, and if your tempo is bad, that gives the enemy team an advantage. That gives them time to make something happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So say I went like let's say my stuff was up and I could go uh, blue, then Gromp, then gank bot, and that was successful, or you know, blue Gromp, scuttle, gank bot.
You mean red, blue grump, and then
Well, I'm talking about like post 6 or like post level 3, somewhere in the game itself, you know, past the early stages.
okay, gotcha.
Let's say I do that. Like another an idea of tempo would then, after a successful gank bot, you know, then I could go do wolves. I can start making maybe a strategy to do wolves, raptors, or red, and then into a rift herald. Would that be considered like tempo?
Um, it would if
If the jungler was spotted by or ran over
well the
a
thing is
ward by the red.
yeah. So if you end up doing if at some point you know that you just got a good gank bot, okay, let's say you just got a double kill bot,
Mm.
and then you go back into your jungle and then do wolves, do raptors into rift, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not as beneficial as ganking bot, seeing that they no longer have 2 people here, and then what's to say you don't take your support and go and invade? Of course, if nothing's up, it's kind of bad for you, but being a good jungler means you know where the jungler is going to be. Um, if you know that he already cleared bot, then of course going mid with your support might be good. You know, you have a couple options here. You can go and clear, but the thing is, once you leave this bot side, the advantages start to go away because uh, you've made this play bot, but what's happening top? Is your top lane winning? Is your top lane losing? If your top lane's losing, then doing Rift is really dangerous because all of a sudden that Darius who's super fed is going to come and kill you.
Yeah,
And they have
because
to ask yourself,
he's probably got a ward right there in the mid river if he's good.
right, yeah. So you have to always ask yourself, what's the state of the game?
So let's say Poppy was in this case still as pushed as she was for like the most of the, because most of that match she seemed in
Right,
lane
she
she
was
was
up
pushed.
here.
So if she was pushed, then that would be the play. Like that,
Still,
or an option.
if it was a Kale, then yes. But you also have to ask yourself, where is Diana and where's my Annie? Is my Annie low? If your Annie is like, let's say if your Annie magically kills Diana, then this would be an awesome play because if Kha'Zix comes, Annie comes, kills Kha'Zix, Kha'Zix is dead, you get Rift, you're happy.
And his blue side farm More than likely
and his
be
blue side farm if it's up.
Yeah.
So you understand the idea that, you kind of understand weak side, strong side, and you kind of understand that, but you also have to always ask yourself, what else am I missing? What information can I gather? What's happening top, even though I might be bot, does the enemy top lane have TP? If so, are they ahead? Is that TP gonna matter? And this also helps when you know what the enemy top laner, or your top laner, if the wave state is pushing or if it's not pushing, whatever, if the TP is going to help out.
So basically, the priority would go look at lanes, look at their matchups, then make tempo off that based off of what I've just done.
It's super hard to say what would happen past 5 minutes because at that point, so many things could have happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's say your top laner gets killed 3 times. Well, what if you wanted to play for top side? You can't really do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have to change
So
my tempo basically.
no, not your tempo, your game plan.
Well, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. So
But yeah,
basically, just redirect the tempo to play bot side or mid.
you're thinking tempo in terms of pressure. Tempo would be if Kha'Zix has 12 CS, like 3 camps, and you have 16 CS and you have 4 camps. You have an increase of 1 camp, which means you are +1. Tempo would also be he's clearing red into blue into Gromp. You have tempo if you clear it faster than him and you have access to this, or if you have access to this faster than he does. And it can get really intricate where Karthus has a super fast clear speed. We won't use Karthus. Elise into Rek'Sai. I'm pretty sure that Rek'Sai clears it faster.
Well, it's Skarner.
So Rek'Sai,
Skarner is
yeah,
a really fast clear. We'll use him.
right, but he doesn't want to gank at level 3. He can, but he doesn't want to. He wants to gank at 6. He wants to perma farm.
That's true.
But Rek'Sai will be here faster. Like if you both clear topside, Rek'Sai versus Elise, Rek'Sai is going to be there faster than you. So Rek'Sai has tempo over you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how you want to think about tempo.
I see. Oh, okay. So like kind of like layering, but not like ability wise, but more like just overall strategy wise.
Just time and where you are in your game plan compared to where they are.
I see.
But yeah.
So in that case, would it be better to maybe start if she's starting red on and she's blue side and she starts red and I'm Elise? If I want to play to top side, would it be better for me to go red than Raptors than Krugs than gank? Like, would that be if I know she's starting red? Would that be tempo?
And then you're 3. Yeah. That's fine. You can do that. Obviously, you don't have blue buff at this point, but if you know, like, this also happens to be the case where you have to think of in terms of the 2v2. Okay.
Because she can always show up.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you know that she's pathing topside and you're gonna be there, let's say you have a Darius, and it's you as Elise, and they are what, Rek'Sai
And Kled.
and Kled. Well, then this is really volatile. Let's use a better example. Let's say Kayle.
Okay, Kayle.
Well, you're 100% gonna win, right? So this would be good for you. So you have to ask yourself, if we win the 2v2, then we can do this 100%. If we don't, it's a little bit coin flip because Elise has to get the cocoon because Elise wins really hard because she has that CC. And then you have to layer it properly with Darius E and whatnot. But you have to always ask yourself in the pregame lobby, how are these matchups going to look? This is why looking at prio, matchups, win cons, stuff like this all really matter. Understand?
Yeah. Now, if I did the pathing red Raptors Krugs level 3 getting top and she starts red and she's pathing to top, would I be to top first? Like I would be there first, right? Because I'd have less distance to cover and all my camps are like right there. Or would it be
I'm sure you could go into. I don't exactly know what that would be. I would assume that you would eventually you could be at there at the same time. It also depends on the player because certain players can clear super fast because they understand auto resets and they understand how to pull the camp forward and clear it as you're pathing towards where you want to be, just to get that extra couple of seconds. Um, so there's no certain definite yes or no, but you will definitely be there. You'll definitely be around here when he's around here, or he could be right here.
Or if
The
Darius
thing
is
is, you're gonna
pushed, I
be
could
there.
even I could literally even sit in that bush, anticipating a Rek'Sai gank, and then be there in the bush, and then whoosh, and then come out, make it a 2v2, land a cocoon
Right.
on one of the two, turn it around.
Obviously, sitting in this bush would be dependent on where the wave is. If the wave is right here, then obviously sitting in this bush would be good. Even sitting in the alcove would be good. If the wave is right here, right, if it's right here, then sitting in this bush would be good because Rek'Sai is probably going to come like this. And then you get the cocoon, you get the whatever, and you're chilling because you have just killed Rek'Sai and you're winning the matchup. Right?
Gotcha. Alrighty. Alright, wow, that was informative. That's
Yeah.
something I'm definitely gonna work on that. So I don't know if you keep an eye on your students. I'm also am gonna probably are you on LOL that coaching website, or where do you do the
No,
coaching?
I'm just kind of getting into coaching NA. I currently coach for a team in Norway, and then I also coach for a little bit of regional stuff in Canada. But I'm just starting to get into solo queue stuff. So I'm not on anything. I'm trying to get some reviews going to hopefully get like my name up and not really like just yeah. But I'm not on any coaching websites right now.
Are you
But
I imagine obviously you probably play League. Do you rank? What's your
uh, so I play a little bit. I don't play a lot. My main account is Tate Dallas.
Oh wow.
Um,
So you mostly play mid.
yeah, I'm mostly a mid lane, but I have been coaching for around a year and a half. Um, and it's more or less I know a lot about the game, and solo queue like if when you get to diamond, okay, if and when you'll start to see like this game right here, like look at my bot, right? Games become really hard to win because certain people want to just ruin your game.
Like for like a straight up in run it down, you mean?
This guy, if you watch the game, he came mid level 4 and gave my laner a free kill,
Like what
and he ran into the tower.
oh, okay, so he
Yeah,
actually inted because he didn't like
he
you.
actually inted. Yeah, and
Oh,
then
I actually just watched. It's funny you bring that up because you said something earlier in the thing, and um, it hit me pretty like kind of like, well, duh, that's probably a much better way to look at it. Is people always cry about, oh, this is OP or this is toxic. That's how I feel actually about Diana, and there's a couple other champs because I think they. Like you said, I mean, they just want to farm Kassadin too, but I feel like Kassadin by like 20, 25 minutes with two items is going to start one-shotting you. I can't stand that champion. But something I noticed though is, and it's something he also mentioned in the video was like, I imagine you've probably seen the Void Boy video, right? The Sad State of Solo Queue.
yeah.
And that's exactly what he touched on was that a lot of people in, Diamond 2, that Elo, they'll straight run it down and ruin your game on purpose, and nothing happens to them. So long as they don't say anything that chat filter is going to pick up, they're not punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to the same thing. But he also mentioned one other thing was that it's never just about like something being OP. It's you shouldn't look at something as actually no, never mind. That was a different video I saw. That was about York, but um, that was video about York, but it was one thing about, regardless if something is considered OP or not, it's really just you can still play around it.
Of course, even Kassadin. Kassadin is horrible and competitive because it's so easy to coordinate with your jungler to come mid because Kassadin has to step up to the wave. So if the mid laner's smart, he'll let the Kassadin push in, set up a freeze, and then the Kassadin has to step up to CS. Yeah, it's starved, and he has to chill over here because the enemy or your jungler knows that if Kassadin is not a champion, if Kassadin is 0-10, then you get all the drags for free, you get all the rifts for free. You and your mid laner can now set up dives top, can set up dives bot, and you win the game because
your mid lane
is not a good champion.
is owned. Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. So this is why I hate solo queue and I don't really enjoy coaching it that much because the game isn't controllable at all unless you're duo queuing with a mid and jungle, and I don't duo queue at all. Which is unfortunate. I should, but
I usually do duo because I feel like it is more volatile unless you have one other person to, like a mid laner. I usually what I've been doing up thus far has been queuing. When I was playing support mostly, was duoing with either an ADC or a jungler, typically a jungler. And just, so whenever they come bot, I can make a play around drag or something like that, or I can even, roam mid if they're going top or something.
yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Now I
Yeah.
am gonna want to schedule another meeting because
Sure.
for mid, and it's
Okay.
good. I do see that you're a mid laner because that's pretty dope. Because
Yeah.
one champ I played last night, and I'm like, you know what? I like this. I actually want to. I think I want to get in this champ. She was actually the first champ I ever played when I joined the game back in like 2000, back in
Okay.
season like 2 or 3. But that was Akali. So
Nice.
I know she's hard to play in low elo, but really OP in high elo because of her. I think it's a skill cap. But
It is a skill cap. She's really playable low elo as well because a lot of people don't know how to play around her. But she is definitely a champion that if you really find her fun, she's a really fun champion. Of course, I played against a challenger one trick Akali player. This guy is incredible. He is probably one of the best Akalis in NA. He he can't play anything else. Like he played set, but this is mostly set support. He yeah, like I said, it's just the champion in itself. The skill cap is so high that if you find the champion fun and you want to invest like 500 games into it, you're going to become really good, and you're probably going to climb to diamond. Now, of course, if you learn how the wave works mid and you learn how to roam properly and obtain or secure objectives based off of picking people, which is what Akali wants to do, then you're going to be able to climb so much easier, and you're probably going to hit like master tier because Akali is actually really broken. And that's why she's called broken, because she's able to do things that the enemy can't really respond to.
yeah,
Especially in solo queue.
you kind of just have to avoid her or else let her do her thing, or hopefully she doesn't have the damage to do her thing. But typically that's
Right.
not the case.
Yeah, like normally what you'll want to see, how the enemy team will probably want to play is they want to play away from her. So what you happen to see is like stuff like this will happen where Akali will be topside, and then you want to make plays bot. Or if Akali doesn't have her ult, that's when you can start playing around her because Akali without ult is pretty useless. Unless, of course, she's like 15-0 at that point, which then the game's pretty much over. But yeah, if you get really good at Akali, I couldn't see why you wouldn't be able to hit at least Diamond.
So
Diamond 3 would be pretty easy.
do you think I should play jungle, like, or do you think I should maybe focus on mid then and just schedule a lesson with you? Because one thing I do need to work on is my wave management. I understand like the basic core concepts of wave management, but I feel like it's so infinitesimally more complicated than that, and I'm missing out on a lot of things that I could be doing.
Yeah, you probably are. Even pro players fuck up a lot of wave management. Like I was watching a TSM game and a Team Liquid game in Worlds, and I'm trying to make a uh, a PDF of why NA is starting to be really bad, and they're not performing well in Worlds. And I think wave management is one of the reasons, and their game plans towards pushing and setting up freezes and whatnot is not optimal. But I think that wave management is something that will alone get you to diamond. Because if you understand the wave, you can get so many advantages.
That's what I've been told. Yeah, that's something
Yeah.
I need to work on for sure.
But the wave is very, very complicated. There are a lot of things that go into it, and I can definitely coach you on that. In terms of what your goals are, like if you want to go jungle, jungle is obviously it's not as easy because of course there are a lot more champions that you can pick up than just the Elise. But if you are strictly new to both jungle and mid, mid is going to climb faster.
So
So if you want to
mid will
climb,
climb faster because I would say
mid will
about
climb faster.
experience wise, since season 2 or 3, I've been mostly just hovering around gold,
Yeah.
and about those it's been mostly jungle but mid. I've only recently picked up support recently, like in the last year.
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty those are the two roles I've always been most comfortable with. Is mid and jungle, jungle mid. Um,
Yeah.
Not sure. So if you think mid is probably maybe faster to climb and it's less, detailed, then maybe I should just stick to mid then.
Yeah, because mid's easier to climb with, but it's also got a higher skill cap and more stuff you need to think about. If you really, really enjoy the game, mid I think is the best role right now. Um, you could obviously go over the pros and cons of it. Jungle, you have to rely a little bit more, and I'm sure you've seen videos where it tells you about the graph about what's it called? This is probably what
Like,
at 0 minutes your chances of winning
yeah,
as mid go higher and higher, whereas in jungle it gets lower and lower. This is your control of the game. Sorry, so your control of the game is high when you're jungle.
the
I
early
don't know if
on.
you can see this.
Yeah,
Yeah, early on you have a lot of pressure as jungle because of course you can path it optimally and you can do all these things. Um, I think in the US ladder, I can just quickly go over. I don't have to bring it up, but
so the best
there's
jungle
a
champs would
Kazakh player.
be to play like champs like Elise early on. Lee Sin. Those earlier champs would be technically, by speaking, you know, in that context, they're technically probably the most efficient then, because then you could just camp
Um,
a lane
I
and
wouldn't say so because they rely on their ability to get those leads. What happens if the enemy laners know what you're doing and they play around it? Then all of a sudden you're screwed. If Elise is 0-0-0 by 10 minutes, she's doomed. Unless something happens, she's doomed. You know what I mean?
gotcha. Alrighty, that's a lot to think
But this
about.
guy, if you want to take a look at a Kazakh's Elise player, this guy is super, super good.
How do you spell his name? Is that a G or a Q?
A G. I'll send you his.
Okay. And also that I think it's a Cozy Shroud, the Akali player.
Yeah, he doesn't stream. He's just. I've played against him.
I might reach out to him though.
Nah, I wouldn't count on it. He's not a pro player or anything like that. He kind of just plays. If you want to, I would just suggest looking at VODs of pro players play Akali. But you you'd obviously have to know what you're looking for.
Hmm.
You could obviously go and. Well, I mean, he is here. I would look up probably League of Graphs and then look up Akali players. I wouldn't be surprised if he's here either. Oh, Rovex? No way. Dude's a collegiate player. I played against him. Why is he playing? Oh, whatever. You could obviously look at Moon the Sky, like this guy right here has a Twitch link. I don't know how to click on it, but there it is. Maybe look at this guy's Akali.
Oh,
I'm
dope.
not saying he's a good Akali player, but obviously if you want to look at the best Akali players, you could go into some Season 9 VODs of Worlds, like any sort of caps. You can look at caps. I don't know if you could find like a pro view of caps, pro view Akali. Um, right, and all of a sudden you have this. This is pro view right here. You could obviously look at something like this. I'll send you that link as well.
Gotcha. Okay, and I'll review all these sources, but I'm gonna let you go because I don't want to con you out of all this time. This is well over
Oh,
an
no worries,
hour.
man. I enjoy. No, I can stay up to 2 hours. Like, it's not a big deal. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy. Plus, I don't really have too much to do until 7. Which at that point, I'm getting pretty fucked up because I'm going out with some buds, man. We're
Gotcha.
gonna get, but it's all good.
So,
But yeah,
are you located in NA or where are you located then?
I'm
Or
located in Manitoba.
Manitoba?
Um,
That in Norway
but
or?
no, that's in Canada. Sorry.
Oh, okay, gotcha, Canada.
Yeah, but I do like I'm getting into international coaching,
That's
which is
cool.
pretty awesome.
I
But
feel
yeah.
privileged. Now, I do have a question because I see that he is pretty strong lately, or so I hear. How do you feel about Azir?
Azir is definitely right now, just because the way the meta works, especially in competitive. I hate saying that he's blind pickable, but there's so much that he can do that nobody else can do. It's hard to say because the way, like, I can get super in depth into it about how you can blind pick Azir um, with like a safe jungler, and all of a sudden he can do anything he wants. But there are only so many champions that can actually beat him in lane. But the thing is, if you pick LeBlanc into Azir, what happens if Azir is 0-0-0 with 10 CS per minute, when LeBlanc is also 0-0-0 with 10 CS per minute? All of a
Oh,
sudden, Azir just wins the game because he outscales.
yeah, and LeBlanc can't
So
really see us all that well as the game progresses. Yeah.
yeah, and so my love for Azir just strands from me trying to learn the champion, because Azir has been prevalent last season in the competitive meta, also in this season, and I want to know the matchups and I want to know what people could do. And it's just like, I think Azir is broken right now. There's a couple of champions that I think are broken,
My
but
personal favorite mid laner, um, I mean, up until I started learning Akali a little bit more, but my go-to mid laner has always been historically, like especially when he first came out. Since the rework, not so much. I mean, I like it, I still like it, but Asol. I
Hazel.
I love Aurelion Sol. That's the champion that really taught me like positioning. Like
Now that is a hard champion to play, dude.
I love him.
That is a really hard champion.
I usually get, at least for my elo, I get a lot of compliments when I play him.
Hmm.
That game not so well, but that is the first game I've played in probably 3-4 months.
Yeah.
But I still did pretty well against a Heimerdinger, so I mean, I don't mean like to toot my own horn, but I love that champ.
Yeah.
He's so smooth to play. I love him.
He's fun. You get to fly around a little bit, roll them on the top lane, level 3, and then all of a sudden they're kind of like losing, and you're just like, oh yeah, baby, bringing in the big guns.
The giant half map size star.
Oh yeah. And once again, like, that's a champion that if you're good enough, you can get challenger with no problem, just because of the way he rotates. And
Really.
if you're good at macro, then he's really, really good.
So he's one I should definitely focus on, along with probably Akali.
Well, okay. The thing is, right now, you don't know too much about the actual game. Like, if I were to bring up draft, like, you would know the bare bone basics, like scaling champions, and that's pretty much it. Like, scaling versus not scaling. But you need to know how to position in lane, how to CS, the wave. There's so many different things that you don't understand yet, that trying to be better at a champion won't help you as much as trying to get better at the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You want to learn how to play the game before you learn how to
to
play a
learn.
champion.
I see. Because then once you know how to play the game, then you can apply the same principles to every champion.
Exactly,
Kind
exactly.
of, yeah, about the game. And
Now,
see,
the only problem right now is that you said you were playing for a couple seasons in season 2.
yes.
So how many games roughly do you think you've played since then?
Now this
Or what?
account I made about 2 years ago, I think. So this doesn't really do it justice at all.
Probably about like 3,000 games, something like that?
On ASOL, or
No, just in
specific.
general.
Um,
Because I can tell you right now, I've played like what? I played probably 2,000 games. I've
I,
played for
I
a
would say
couple years
I would say between. Oh, you mean total, not just on this account. You mean,
in total.
oh, probably a lot. Probably. Oh my gosh.
A lot, right?
Probably like 4 to 5,000 games I
Like
used
four,
some seasons
five
like
thousand.
I just played the crap out of this game.
Yeah. So if you have this many games, how many habits that are bad do you think you have? How many bad habits do you think you have?
That's a big question. Probably a lot.
Exactly. So you need to focus on thinking, I know nothing about this game. I am bad. Not that I'm saying that you're a bad player. I'm saying that in order to break these habits, you need to come in
To square one.
to square one. The next 100 games you play, think about, the stuff that I told you, the stuff that I'll tell you later on, and just really try to take it heart and try and focus on new rather than old, because those old are probably bad and wrong. Not all of them, but chances are it's not going to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
So where do I do the 699 to schedule the next lesson? Because I'll probably, if you're free next week, I'll probably schedule one for
um,
mid lane for wave management and stuff.
yeah, I can send you my. Basically, I just get people to send me money over PayPal, and then after that happens, we schedule a lesson or whatnot, and then yeah, we just go from there.
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. Just go ahead and send me the link, and I will take a look at it.
Yeah, for sure.